no matter where you go, no matter how much you tell your clients you're unreachable, you're on holidays, we've all gotten the text that says, "Hey Ash, I know you're on holidays,
But
sorry to bother you,
right?"
but yeah.
You're listening to Breakthrough with Coach B, where we help you work less so you can earn and live more. Our mission is to free you from the unnecessary, the repetitive, and the draining, so you can focus on what you love, excel at, and grow your business. Let's dive in. Hey, it's me, Coach B, and welcome back to this episode of Breakthrough. This is a show where we like to get real about what it takes to build a business that works for you and not the other way around. So here's the deal. Most realtors are addicted to their cell phones. We wear the hustle culture like a badge of honor, but behind the scenes, a lot of us are running on fumes, burnt out, distracted, and never really off. Does that sound familiar? That's why I decided to bring in three friends of mine for this interview, Ashley Metcalf, Tim Hill, and Sydney Fairman, who all know that struggle too well. These are high-performing agents who have lived the grind, but have found ways over their career to create some boundaries, protect their peace, and still crush it in their business. And yeah, we're going to be unpacking a strategy that a lot of people wouldn't expect to be the unlock for having some peace of mind and separation from your business. And that's having a second phone. You see, it's not just for drug dealers and CIA agents. Turns out burner phones might actually be the secret weapon for a healthier real estate career and life outside of it. You'll hear some real stories of burnout, breakthroughs, and what happens when you finally give yourself permission to fully unplug from your business. So whether you're on your way to a showing or sneaking this in between calls, stick around. You might just walk away rethinking the relationship you have with your business and your cell phone. Let's jump in. Imagine freeing up 10 hours a week to focus on what you love, personally and professionally. Ready to get started? Our free guide walks you through the first step, a resource review to identify where you spend your time, money, and energy. Download it now at bradenwheatcroft.com/review or find the link in our show notes. Let's get you closer to your breakthrough. I want to start off by reading you something out of a book. Yes, that's right. You didn't realize you were showing up for Bible study, but here it is from the good book of Coach B. No, this is actually from one of my favorite reads of the last couple of years. Dan Sullivan, Benjamin Hardy. They wrote a book called 10X is Easier Than 2X. And I wanted to read you this passage from it first because I think it really will center our conversation. So this is talking about what they refer to as psychological separation from work. So it says recovery is crucial for being fresh, operating at your best, as well as career and life longevity. There's now an entire subsection of occupational psychology growing around the importance of work recovery called psychological detachment from work. True psychological detachment occurs when you completely refrain from work-related activities, as well as obsessive thoughts. Anyone have obsessive thoughts? Just me? As well as obsessive thoughts during non-work time. Research has found that people who psychologically detach from work experience less work-related fatigue and procrastination, increased physical health and increased engagement at work, especially during highly demanding times, greater material satisfaction even with a heavier workload, increased overall quality of life, greater mental health. And they go on to say, if you're never fully unplugged, then you're also never fully in the zone. Your ability to turn 100% on and work in a flow state is in equal proportion to your ability to turn 100% off and fully release and let go. So that's from Benjamin Hardy and Dan Sullivan's 10X is Easier Than 2X. And I guess I want to start off with you, Ashley. Have you ever experienced full detachment from work before?
Yep.
You have? Okay. How? And what was that like?
The first time was I was super burnt out and I was at the F this, I'm done. I can't, I've had it. And I left my cell phone on my desk at the office. And my husband, Josh, and I went to Costa Rica for 3 weeks and I had no phone. Nothing. Phone. I was like, he had the phone. That's fine. So that was my first detachment from work. And I thought that I would miss having access to my phone. And I did not in the slightest. And that was the most restful 3 weeks off I've ever had.
Interesting.
Ever.
We're going to unpack that in much more detail, but I'm curious, Tim, can you remember the first time, if you've had it, where you've had complete psychological detachment from work? And no, not when you're sleeping. That doesn't count. You're awake and you're not plugged into your business. And the thing that I really find interesting on that paragraph I just read is the not obsessively thinking, because how many of us maybe do take a break, but we're thinking about work the whole time? I'm curious, Tim, when was the first time you had psychological detachment from work?
Well, I know when I made the conscious decision to, because of that same feeling Ashley was having, it was October 2017. And I was like at my wit's end. I had launched a development project. The condo market was crazy at that point, and I did a good chunk of resale. So it was like up at 6 a.m. in bed at 1 or 2 a.m., living off of coffee. And what I did is I literally went, one of my clients works for TELUS, and I called her. I said, I need another phone. I don't care. I'm coming in. Like, just get me set up. Give me another number. I bought it. I went to a good friend of mine in the office who was helping me with the project too. Said, this phone's yours. I'll be back in a few days. And went to Whistler with my wife, and just like, we didn't even really leave the room, honestly, because it was just, it was also, it's weird to not be working, because also, at least in my tenure in the career, it was very much hustle culture. And I certainly fell into that. And it was like, who can work the hardest? And yeah, so that was my first time stepping away from it. And then it was, kind of an addiction to have that balance, which I've fought for the last 8 years, and it comes and goes, but I felt it, and it's so rewarding. You come back and you also get to focus on yourself, right? Your life, your partner. I have a kid now, that kind of stuff too, where you're present, and that's a hard thing to do in this business.
And Tim, I just want you to, acknowledge and celebrate me for how hard it was, but I resisted the temptation to talk about Viagra on your Never Left the Room and Whistler thing.
Oh, okay. I was like, where are you going with
I was waiting for that.
I was thinking, I'm like, I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to.
There was a lot of Netflix for sure. You can figure out the
rest. That's awesome. Sid, I know you're the little baby rookie when it comes to the idea of taking a break. I actually don't even know if you've had maybe, I don't know, when you gave birth to your daughter, maybe.
No.
But I know Ashley and Tim, I think, of probably the most experience with taking a break. Ashley's, working on it, but you're very new to this. Mm-hmm. When was the first time, if at all, that you've had psychological separation from work?
I think early on in my career, I went away and didn't have cell phone service. So it was an accidental psychological detachment, but I wasn't aware of what that actually was. And I think at the time I thought I was busy. Obviously, as my career has grown and I feel responsible as the team leader, I've found it really challenging to take a break. I'll take time off and say like, okay, I'm not working, but started getting text messages about, can we switch this photo? Can we do this? Can we do that? And I'm like, oh my good, this is not a break. Although I'm not on appointments, you have those, call them obsessive thoughts, but I was having those thoughts. So you and I have obviously been talking about this second phone thing for a long time. I went into Rogers. I'm like ready to buy the phone. They're like, they're on back order for 4 weeks. And I was like, no. So I had to order one from Apple. But this summer, so I've obviously been going through like lots of life changes. This summer, I went away to a cottage and I was only gone for 2 days. But I did not have cell phone service, and they did not tell me that you could get Wi-Fi in the front room. So those 2 days, I forwarded my phone to my team. I couldn't check my email. Like, I literally had no service, and I've never felt so calm. I was like, this is what it's about. Now I get it. Maybe Braden knows what he's talking about. Maybe I should listen. So I'm currently waiting for the second phone to come because I'm going to pass my old one along to my team. But for detachment at this point, I've just been operating off call forwarding. And yeah, it was literally like 2 days this summer where it finally clicked.
I love that. And I want to take a little bit of a step back here. The reality is you've all been doing this for a long time. You're working at an extremely high level, putting a lot of deals together. Tim, I don't know if you still have a team or where your team status is. I know in the case of Ashley, she both is in production, but also leads a team. Sydney, same with you. So I want to just ask you, like, from a very high level perspective, how would you describe your current relationship with your business? And Tim, I'm going to start with you. How would you describe it?
So I do have a team right now. I have one agent working with me. Started February 1st. So I was solo from June 2023 to February 1st this year, 2025. My relationship with my business is much better now. It sounds funny talking about it. I feel like I'm an outside perspective right now looking in. But like my boundaries are much more set now. Communicating them at the beginning stages with buyers and sellers has been really important, especially for the clients that I worked with 10, 12, maybe 15 years ago, who everything was text or call Tim. Tim's got this. Tim can update that, photo or appointment, like Cindy was mentioning, to just structuring, like reminding ourselves, okay, we run a business. If you need to get a hold of a lawyer, you can't usually reach them without going through their paralegal or legal assistant. So why are people able to, reach me directly just by looking my phone number up on Google, right? Of course, that's a rabbit hole. But it's much healthier because like I'm not afraid to do things where it's like, okay, the evening's a little lighter. I'm going to throw my phone on D&D or leave it in my home office, go have dinner at the table. That's my 1 hour appointment. If I was in a legitimate appointment, you wouldn't reach me anyways, and then come back and see what happened, right? So I'm just not afraid to do those things anymore. I'm not thinking, oh, I'm going to miss that lead call or that deal.
Tim, I want to circle back to the boundaries word. Could you take us to the moment when you realize that you need to set different boundaries or a boundary for the first time in your business? Like what happened that led up to that moment where you're like, I need to do this differently?
There's a lot of points. I'll try to give you like a couple that were really important to me. I always say I retire for the evening. That's just one of my funny terms. I literally tell clients like, hey, just send you an update. We don't have an answer, but I'm retiring till the morning, right? Like just not quitting. I don't know. I like that word for some reason. When I go sit on the couch and try to be mindless, like that's for me, if I cannot think about something and just be present, that's what I need. So like back in the day, I used to play Candy Crush on my phone, right? Or, you browse Facebook, Instagram, whatever. The issue that
Tim, that's too vulnerable.
yeah,
let's we'll cut that out of the edit. But yeah,
that addiction is gone now. I don't even have the app. Okay.
All right.
What I was having trouble with is when I'd see something come in, a text, an email on this individual phone, which was my life source to play my games or social media, whatever it might be, or it's sitting next to me when we're watching TV, I'd see the message or the email. Your mind automatically responds to it. I'd always just respond because I go, it's going to take me twice the time if I wait till tomorrow to respond. So that was probably an addiction to work though, too, right? So do not disturb function was awesome when we got that. So my phone from 9 p.m. to 9 a.m. religiously is on DND. Like good luck reaching me unless we're negotiating an offer that has to be done that night and it's in the midst of it. And if I'm lucky enough, I'll turn it on early at 8. I very rarely quit or retire before that. It was having the separation where I didn't have to see the work, right? I didn't know what was going on. I couldn't think about it. I couldn't respond. And it allowed me to just be in my own personal zone and time.
Yeah. And Ashley, I'm curious from your perspective, like I know you're very, I don't know if I should say you're very vocal about this, but I know when asked, you're not afraid to share your opinion. Like this industry glorifies always being on. And to a degree, I can't speak to, anyone outside of BC. I just know the BC rules, but it's like, we have a fiduciary responsibility to our clients, agency and whatnot. Like we have to put their interests ahead of our own. So there's always this sort of like, am I being selfish or not living up to my fiduciary responsibilities by taking some self-care time away from my business? So I'm curious, like, what is your perspective on this glorifying always being on in the real estate business? Like what comes to mind when you think about that, the hustle culture?
I think it's just fundamentally not sustainable and it's completely unrealistic. It's like if you think of any other profession, surgeons, whatever, anything, they have their hours where they're available, but you don't call the surgical clinic and talk to the person who sewed up your body. Like you talk to the assistant, you know what I mean? And I think I do take my own calls and return them. My assistant, like people can call my assistant, but I do take my own calls. But I think like not having a line where you step out is just completely unrealistic. And I actually don't think that's of value to your client because I have literally shown houses where my clients are like, you look exhausted. And I'm like, I am. Like, I don't know what else to say. I am. Or you sound really tired, It's like, I am. And so it's like, if you're at that state, how can you give someone the confidence that you're operating at your best? Like, if I was, I mean, we're not doing life altering work here, we're selling houses, but like, if I was your heart surgeon and I walked into the OR and you were like, you look tired, and I was like, I am, would you want me getting in there?
Not really. And I actually wanted you kind of pointed to something I wanted to push back on, and Sydney, Tim, feel free to jump in and answer this question. Is, I'll play the sort of the devil's advocate from this is definitely not my perspective, but it's a perspective I hear a fair bit in my role, which is like, but we're not surgeons and we're not engineers or lawyers. Like, we took a 10-week course to get our license. We're effectively salespeople, not, these quote unquote highly educated professionals. Not to piss you off or my audience, because I don't believe that, but I'm curious, like Sydney, I'll throw it to you for a second. Like, when you hear that perspective of, well, yeah, but you're just a salesperson, like I expect you to be on all the time, what comes up for you?
I think I've struggled with the back and forth on that, because our industry has always been labeled as, you're just like a used car salesman. But at the very end of the day, there are 20% of us who are in the top of the top, and we are solving big life problems. We are taking care of the majority of people's largest assets. They're trusting us with their money, their emotions, their time. So it took me a long time to get to the point where I was holding myself to this bar with a lawyer, with a doctor, with an accountant. In Ontario, anyway, we all wanted to be able to incorporate like them, but we didn't act like them. So it took me a long time to sort of reframe my mindset. But when you sit down and think about it, we are taking care of people's lives too. It's just a different aspect.
For sure. And if you're not taking care of yourself, how can you take care of them, right?
Well, you can't. And I'm a perfect example of that this year. I don't know if we're going to get into it.
I was going to ask you.
How vulnerable are we getting on this podcast? Because,
well, Sydney, we're going to be airing all of your dirty laundry out in front of 1,100 people in 2 months. So
I know. So do we just get it over with now?
So I want to ask you, Sid, what happens when you never really turn off?
Well, your marriage falls apart. Your life falls apart. You think that you're functioning at your highest and best and that nobody will know, but it's bullshit. Like, your clients who know you well, they see right through it. Your service changes, your response time changes, your attention to detail changes. You're missing little things, like the fundamentals or the pillars in your business change if you're not highly systemized and on, right? So for me, just in my personal life this year, not shutting off, not taking care of myself, it's definitely cost me clients or future business, or at the end of the day, money, for screwing up a deal because my head wasn't in the right space. And I think instead of turning off like I should have, it was like power through, because that's what we're supposed to do.
And I would say it's that way of approaching our work is the reason why we've became successful in the first place.
Sure. Like, I was caught up in hustle culture. Like, it was like grind, like take pride in showing a house on Christmas Day. Like, I look back like 15 years. Are you kidding me? Like, I'm leaving Christmas dinner to show a house? Not a chance now. But that's what it was.
I do co-sign that. However, I would say, I think one of the challenges is, I think there's seasons in our careers. And so to really actually make it in this business, you've heard the 85% failure rate in 5 years, right? So like, to not be that stat, you probably do have to be a little unbalanced and unhinged in the beginning. The challenge is, I don't know what study to believe, whether it's 7 days, 21 days, 66 days, 90 days, but however long it takes to form a habit. Could we agree that if you've been doing something for 5 years, it's probably a habit at that point? I think that's a big part of the issue. Is like, it's so hard to get established. And then once you're established, you forget that you don't have to work the same way anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
It's really looking at running it like a business, because I'm assuming at least most realtors, maybe not all three of us, but started individually at some point. So you felt like you had to do everything. And I mean, I tell new realtors they're generally not financially capable of it, but if you could split an assistant with even 2 or 3 realtors, and even though doing those tasks is important, but actually running it like it was a business, it opens at X time AM and closes at Y time PM. And having that, even I think incorporation is also important. Paying yourself, not just like, oh, that was a great month or great 6 months. Let's go buy this, that, bag, car, shoe, whatever. Right. And then you're like, oh, I stopped working. I've got no money coming in. I got to pay CRA because I forgot to save for tax purposes, right? And if we do run it more like a business, that also goes in tune with taking care of ourselves because we're available now also from X to Y. And for me, the time scheduling makes me more efficient as well. Not just like, well, I'll get this done by the end of today. Well, is that 8 p.m., 9 p.m., 11 p.m.? And you just keep going.
Well, my first follow-up question, Tim, is you actually waited until you got the money to buy things? Because I always bought it when subjects were removed. That's the first insight I think is impressive. Second is our friend Ashley would be the example that would break your thesis because Ashley, if my memory serves me correctly, you started on a team from day one and you still managed to break your business and almost yourself in the process. Is that fair to say? So how is this doable from the perspective of joining a team that has one, maybe two assistants, multiple team members, and yet you still can find yourself in that scenario? Like maybe shed some light on that for us.
I think like part of it is a personality trait, to be honest. Like my sister-in-law calls it the too much gene. And shocker, I have it.
Me too.
So does my brother. So I think part of it is just fundamentally who you are and what you want. So I think it comes from like a sense of self-responsibility and your ability to like look at yourself and admit when you've taken something too far and what needs to change and what needs to stop. And I think if you put a person who wants what they want and will bulldoze anything to get it, you can put them in any situation and they're going to behave that way. So I think that's essentially who I am. I think the other thing is when you're running a team, it is a business and things come top down. And if the person at the top is expecting people to hustle at all costs, well, that becomes the expectation for the
that's
team.
the culture.
That's the culture. Yeah, it is a business. We have assistants. We have agents who work with us, for us. They look to us to be examples of what's expected of them. And if we aren't advocating for them to take care of themselves, they may not feel that it's their right to do that. So I think all of those things work together to create that type of environment. And it's the majority of it has to do with the person.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we could probably spend 7 hours unpacking unresolved childhood trauma and why we're so good at sales as a survival skill for life. But hey, Mandy's going to start her own podcast and she can unpack those therapy topics on her podcast. So there's a lot of different ways that you can achieve this, separation from work. And obviously there's hiring an assistant, whether that's an in real life person, a VA, starting a team. Tim's talked about, time blocking, et cetera. But the thing we want to specifically look at from a strategic point of view is this idea of a burner phone. Yes, not just for CIA agents and drug dealers. Realtors can have burner phones too. In fact, I've had one for 3 years and love it. But I'm curious, Tim, I want to start with you. You said talk about like you just called your friend to tell us. So I wanted to ask you, like, where did the idea of getting a second phone pop into your mind? Did you see that on TV? Did you just think, frick, I hate my phone, I need a different one? How did you come about that?
Well, I mean, I was fed up in a nutshell. I was done. It was the first time I hated the business, not the last time, but the first time. And it was just, I was honestly too busy and I was overwhelmed and I had too much on my plate that I expected myself to do. And I hit my wit's end and I needed some separation. the reasoning behind it honestly goes back to that fact of just, I didn't want to have my work phone in my hand when I was trying to relax, because if I saw it, I dealt with it. And that was a habit. And that was,
Yeah.
an addiction of mine where I just needed to do it. So I needed to have two phones for that reason. And
Yeah.
also just these days, you kind of need to have a phone. Like if you're driving and an emergency happened to you or someone else, it's like, good luck finding a payphone if they even exist. I don't know, but just needing to have that. And the structure sort of came because my coach at the time also, we were trying to figure out, how do you take time away from the business without the business stopping? And I was an individual agent, right? And I was to the point where I was like, well, I'll just tell every client I don't work Sunday. Well, what if an offer comes in or a showing request? And there was always hurdles. And for me, I realized the business kind of has to run 24/7. I hate hearing or even saying that, but there needs to be someone reliable to pick up calls within reasonable hours, right? Not 3 a.m. But having the second phone, it just enabled me to have that separation. The business didn't stop, even if it meant in the early stages, hey, I'll give you a referral fee if someone calls and you close them, right? Like, let's work out a deal that makes sense for you, or a daily rate. So if nothing happens, you actually make something. So I did that for a long time with holidays. I paid X dollars per day. And if no deals happened, you still made money. And if deals happened, you still made a referral fee. So it was a win-win from that standpoint. I mean, moving forward, it's allowed me to be outside of the business on every Friday. That's my day off, 9 a.m. Friday to 9 a.m. Saturday. You can't reach me. And even Braden doesn't know that phone number. And I don't think he ever will with the way he's treating me so far today, but
You're not
that's another
allowed to
story.
give it to him anyway. Do you know what you're supposed
Yeah.
to say if he
Sydney
asks?
Yeah.
It'll be on Instagram. Like, he'll be like, call Tim Friday.
I accidentally started a group chat, and I don't know how my iCloud settings got screwed up, but it somehow defaulted to start new chats with my burner phone. And I sent one message, and the person was like, "Who is this?" And I literally could feel the blood drawing out of my face, because I protect that number with my life. Like, basically, one person has it. So I get it. Tim. Ash, when was the first time you heard of getting a burner phone? Like, what put that on your radar?
I don't remember. I think we talked about it. I don't know. I knew another agent who had an alternate phone. Although she wasn't as good with protecting the number, but she had it like years ago. And after I did the holiday with no phone, which was nice and was what I needed at the time, I thought, well, what if I could like leave the house without my work phone? But like Tim said, if my car broke down, I could call someone or whatever. Like, I walk and do stuff like that without my phone all the time, every day. I eat dinner at the table with my husband every night, which I never used to do, by the way. But the last couple years I do. And I'm fine to leave my phone in a different room for that. That's okay. But it's just nice to know that, like, when you're leaving the house, if you have an emergency, you could get a phone. So I think that's kind of where the idea of it came from for me. Plus I needed to upgrade my iPhone. So I was like, this is perfect. I'll get a new phone and this will just become my burner phone.
Now, what if you're fancy like Sydney and need 2 brand new phones? Then what?
I'm not that fancy.
I'm not that fancy either. I have an iPhone 13. Give me a break.
Okay, fine. You're fine. Because
that's what my burner phone is. Yeah. I'm pretty cheap about it, and I let my teammates use it too. So I try to encourage them to take it too. So I do pass it around the office as well. But I don't give the number. I actually don't even know what the number is.
I actually don't know the number of mine. I'd have to look it up.
Yeah. So yeah, it just kind of came out of like, this seems like the sensible next step.
Yeah, for sure. And Sydney, for you, when was the first time you thought the idea of getting a second phone? I know you haven't got it yet, but you've started thinking about it.
You and I have been talking about it for a few months. And it's just been one of those things that I'm like, yep, I'll do it. Yep, I'll do it. And then once I went to the cottage, I was like, okay, I get it. So when it comes in, my plan is to give my admin assistant, like, Monday to Friday, depending on the day and like what's going on, but my work phone will be at the office. And I'm going to have, like, the burner phone is basically going to be my primary phone that I can use to access like my friends and whatever, but I'm going to have office hours where I return calls, whatever. She's going to keep this phone on the weekends. And then when I'm away and team members are covering, they'll take that phone because that number is so public and has been so public for so many years that I want to hand that number off. And then my burner phone is basically going to be for me to like communicate socially and literally turn off, but have it my primary number monitored by the office.
And I think what you're all saying in a different way is kind of what I'd say, like, you don't have to go full monk mode on this. Like, we're not saying that you have to move into the mountains and swear off technology. Like, I want Spotify. I want to be able to look things up on Google, like what time is this restaurant open till, this, that, the other thing. I want to be able to make a call to arrange something if necessary. But what I don't want, like, kind of my rules for my burner phone is like no scrolling apps. Those are the addictive ones. So social media, sadly, is out because it's the infinite scroll, right? So YouTube is out, Instagram's out, TikTok, Facebook, all of those. And then, for me, I'm a heavy Google user. So I use Google Chrome for everything. I love the convenience that on my tablet, my laptop, my iPhone, I'm logged in. So like the history is all there. But on my burner phone, I use Safari, which I hate, for the record. I hate Safari. I hate you, Safari. Die, Safari. Anyways, it's enough separation where if I had my Google Chrome logged in, I'd be like, well, I'm one click away from being in my inbox.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
do you not have the self-control though for it?
I don't. No.
I don't
So
either.
honestly, like, would you take your alcoholic friend to the bar?
If you're my friend, yeah, I would.
Yeah, I know you would, because you
I
don't
wouldn't
want me to be successful in life, Tim. We've established that already.
I was just going to say, I just sort of interrupt B, but I thought of something. Like, one of the things that made me realize I couldn't go on holidays with my phone was no matter where you go, no matter how much you tell your clients you're unreachable, you're on holidays, we've all gotten the text that says, "Hey Ash, I know you're on holidays.
Sorry to bother you,
right?
but yeah."
And like, to me, that is code for like, I recognize you're taking a break, but what my needs are more important than yours. And the second I would get that message, my mood would flip, right? And that would affect
everything.
Like the dinner I have with my husband or whatever. I would now be thinking about what's going on in that deal.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that people do it because they're mean-spirited. I think they just don't realize how on we are all the time.
The expectation is that we are on all the time. And they've been conditioned to think we are on all the time. So it's a foreign concept to our clients if we take a break. And to me, that's crazy. I think a lot of our like A+ clients are going to be super supportive, and they have been, and they've contacted, my team members through the space. But those people who aren't sort of like super close to us are almost like, how dare you? There was a showing here and I don't have feedback, and sorry to bother you at 7:00 on the Friday of a long weekend, but are we doing an open house next week? It's like, that can wait.
This can wait.
That can wait.
I really think this is where your time in the business and your like self-belief comes into play of like, it took me a long time to get to the point of realizing that like, if a client isn't okay with me being unreachable, they're not the client for me. And I do a big enough business that I can afford to lose that client. And in fact, losing that client opens up the opportunity for me to work for clients who actually have the same belief system that I do. Because one of the things I found in the last year is I'll get nervous, like, oh my God, I'm taking a week off in June, which I had never done before. And like, my clients are going to be pissed. Like, this is inappropriate. It's in the spring. And every client I said, I'm taking a week off. My phone's going to be at the office. My phone, if you call me, it's going to forward to the office. My assistant will be checking my text messages. I have an autoresponder on. And every single one of them was like, good for you. This is great. We're so happy for you. Enjoy your time off. Like, not one of them was pissed. And I also felt like I was at the point this summer where I thought, If they are pissed, I'm just going to fire them.
You've made it this far, which means you're ready for your next breakthrough. If you're tired of trying to figure it out all on your own, let me guide you. Join the waitlist for our next Breakthrough Academy, a 6-week virtual group coaching program where I'll teach you our proven breakthrough method. With live lessons, expert guests, and a cohort of like-minded agents, you'll learn to work less and earn and live more. Visit bradenweecroft.com/academy or find the link in our show notes. Don't wait. Your breakthrough is just around the corner. See, I don't know if this translates to real estate sales math, but here's what I can tell you wearing my broker owner hat. I can serve 10 value aligned agents with the same amount of energy as it takes one not aligned, not in culture agent. You know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, for sure. When I think about it in that context, it's like I can actually give better, deeper service to more people when we're values aligned than the one, we all know who that client is. And Tim, it's you.
I know it is. You're talking about me the whole time.
Oh man, I love you. Yeah, it's like there is a ratio there where you're like that one client that I'm letting go, releasing back into the wild, would actually allow me to maybe double or triple my potential by having more values aligned clients. I want to ask you this question, and this is kind of for everybody here. Is that Ashley's saying I know it's your day off, but because I get those messages too. And so whether it's inconsiderate or they don't know or they're just not like, I almost want to take a more empowered position and say it actually doesn't matter. It's our responsibility to set the standards in our business. So whether someone was absent-minded and they just forgot that it was Sunday, or they're really narcissists that don't care and it's all about it's actually kind of irrelevant. It really comes down to we set the standard for ourselves. And one of my favorite quotes is that your values aren't your values until they cost you something. So in the case of losing a client because of your standard, well, hey, congratulations. You've just actually proven that is a value. Would you agree with that statement? Do you disagree, Sydney? I see you're kind of nodding. What's coming up for you?
Well, I agree, just, for various reasons and different things that I've been through in my business this year. I completely agree with the statement. I've gone against my gut, or I've taken on a client that I knew wasn't the right fit right away, but I thought, nope, I'm going to prove myself wrong. And it's cost me so much time, energy, money, mental stress along the way. So, I think I'm personally trying to get better at having those boundaries and being comfortable with those boundaries. I don't want to come across as oh no, she doesn't need this or she doesn't need that, or business is big enough, she doesn't care. I try to walk that line of
it's a tough line to walk.
Yeah,
sure.
What is against my value? What is my ideal client? What fits? What am I willing to accept or not accept? And then stand firm in that and be okay with holding my head high as I move forward to protect my own peace. I think I just firmly believe in, I think balance is a word that gets thrown around, but I personally don't believe in trying to make every client work for me. I don't work for every client. I don't care about a stat, but I think it's something that we can get caught up in really easily. And throughout, the first part of my career, I would say yes to everything because I just wanted to get better and make more and build this business. And now I'm fuck this business.
Yeah.
You can edit that out. Don't put that on there. But the burnout is real. And I don't think, I think there's so many realtors who don't speak about it. And the second phone thing is an amazing idea. It's genius. I would like to give Braden credit for it, but it probably wasn't his idea. So
definitely not. I learned it. I told you already. I learned it from my drug dealer. I'm this is a family man, and he wants to separate his family life from his illicit activities, and I respect that.
I did, yeah, and I mean it's a great way to turn off and to detach, and I think that if more of us were honest about the fact that we are burnt out and can't do all the things and say yes to things we shouldn't do, think there would be a lot of agents who have really great businesses and we would all be really happy. Nobody would be an asshole to each other because they're tired, they're exhausted, they're trying to service 25 people. But it's never about that detachment or that balance, if you want to call it. It's about more and this award and that. And that's something that just sort of makes me sick.
And I would say against it to that is like, not to go full coaching call on this, but it's like we can't control that. We can't boil that ocean. We can lead by example and hope to lead and inspire. But you know what? I'm not going to wait for every realtor to self-regulate so that I can peace. So it's like it's time to take responsibility. I want to throw it back to you, Sydney, because you are on the precipice of getting the baby. What are your, and maybe they're not there all the time. I find it's like if I'm tired or grumpy, that's when my self-limiting beliefs come from the background into the foreground. So like, what are the buts or fears that you have? And maybe Ashley and Tim can give us a little bit of insight from their experience on that.
I think initially it was, but my clients want me, right?
Okay. I'll write that. Let's list them all out and then we'll go through them one by one.
Write them on your little board. Yep. My clients want me. Yeah, but they hired me. Yeah, but they're my friend. Right? But I've done so many transactions with them and I see them at the gym. So for me to not answer, like, that's weird. Or but I honestly think it's, but you don't deserve to turn off. You signed up for this. This is the career that you signed up for. The expectation is that you are available and you don't deserve that space. So I've obviously had to get over that. And I think I've learned over the course of this year, especially, like, I've turned off just not on purpose. And I've seen that things have been like picked up. So what if I was systemized about it? What if I was organized about it? What if I clearly communicated to my clients that these are the hours that I'm available? It's gonna be okay. But I also have that fear of, like, what if something goes wrong and I'm not there to handle it? Because I've always been the fixer, right?
Yeah. Yeah, no, we're professional problem solvers, right? And it's a great, like, that's the thing is sometimes it can be a flaw and most of the time it's a feature. And so I think it's about putting things in the right, setting it to the right level, and in the right situation. So Ashley, my clients want me, they hired me, they're my friend. What if I see them in the gym? Have you had any of those thoughts? Is Sydney the first person to ever have those thoughts in the history of real estate?
No.
Yes, she is.
Sorry, we can't help you. I'm sorry.
There's no helping me.
No, I think everybody has those thoughts. And I think it's about, like, ego and insecurity, really. Like, I had all of those thoughts, problems, what if they think I don't care? What if so-and-so doesn't do it as good as me? Like, what if they don't do it as fast as me? What if the client's not happy in the end? Like, the list could go on and on and on and on and on. But I think, like, from my experience, all of those fears were probably, like most things in life, like things I created in my head that were so unrealistic. And I think that most of our clients are satisfied with the service that they get when we're not around. And oftentimes the people that we are passing them to are much more capable than we think they are. And sometimes they're
better.
God forbid, even we are.
Yeah. Who would have thought?
And you know what the other one for me was? Like, I don't know if it's like I'm definitely crazy because I'm always thinking 4 months ahead. I look at my bank account, I do the math of what the team expenses are, I do the math of what I need to live, anything extra we want to do, and I go, okay, well, if I don't sell X amount of houses now, then I'm going to be tight for money in January. So I better really ramp it up now, blah, 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 blah. And that's really like a scarcity mindset of being like, well, if I give this away, and I'm not taking my full cut, what if I'm not getting enough? When the reality is
Yeah.
we all
Yeah.
end up
You
with
look at
enough.
enough data and you look at like, hey, every January for the last 10 years, I've done X. In February, I've done Y,
Yeah.
and January, and you start realizing that you don't necessarily know who or where or what that next client opportunity sale will be. And yet you've proven to it through experience that it's there, it's coming.
It's coming. Yeah. And I hear this from my friend that's a lawyer. She says the same thing. Early in her career, she would get fearful of the upcoming slow months when she would clock less billables. And eventually she got to a point where she's like, I'm going to bill the hours. Like, I should just let myself enjoy
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
Right. And I think it's an experience thing no matter what industry you're in. But it's all fear driven, is I guess my
Yeah.
point.
Tim, what were your hangups, if you had any?
Well, one thing to carry on Ashley's point real quickly is I used to have this phobia January 1st every year starting at zero.
Yeah. January 1st blues, baby.
And
Oh,
it was terrible. It was, can you do it again? What do you need to do? What's it going to take? Like, this is the battle uphill. Then I started looking at it more micro. See, that's not a big deal. I don't care about January 1st anymore. It's kind of fun to start at zero now for me when, from deal count, gross commission, etc. I think the biggest hurdles that I had was only I can do it, or no one can do it better than me. And one of my principles now is, better 90% done than done by me if I don't have to.
Yeah. 90% done by someone else is 100% awesome.
I had another pivot point in my business when I was doing too much. I still write my own monthly newsletter, but when I first was doing it, did it super late, made a spelling mistake, realized for me, like, I'm OCD. It just is what it is. And I was like crippled when one client reached out and was like, oh, you spelled this wrong. And then the next month I decided to make fun of myself and I just let go and it was perfect. That became my slogan that year.
Yeah.
That was probably the biggest change for me. Tim can't do it all. Tim's not the best at everything. And if I want to live this life for me, I have to leverage other people's time. And if I don't, and I'm far from perfect and forever will be, but if I don't at least leverage some time and give myself some back, then, what am I living the life for? Just to stack a bank account and have no fun, no hobbies, no friendships, and maybe no relationship, right? None of that is worth more than money. So,
friends may not be in the cards for you, Tim, but all those other things are possible for sure.
No, I think I have 2 friends. Ashley for sure was already, and Sydney I think is on my team.
I'm on Team Tim. I'm on Team Tim.
Honestly, I'll just call Marley.
And sounds good, my girl. You leave my girl alone.
I will say though, on the friends thing, like, I don't know about you guys, but for me, before I got into this business, I was actually like quite extroverted and social. And then when I got in this business, like, I started to not want to go out, like, don't invite me. I don't want no new friends became my slogan. Like, I don't want to make friends. I don't want to be friends with my clients. I don't want to go to the grocery store. I don't want to go to a public gym. I don't want to join the tennis club. Like, I don't want to talk to anyone ever unless I'm getting paid to do it, is kind of like where I ended up. And it really, like, that was one of the blessings of letting go of the phone, is when I actually got time to myself, I realized, like, oh, I do want to have friends. I want to make friends at the tennis club that I can play with. Like, I want to go on vacations that are planned where we see shit and do shit. And I'm not going to lay there and tell my husband, do not start a conversation with someone next to the pool because I don't want to talk to them,
Yeah.
And it, like, really took me having the do not disturb time to find the energy to give it to people in my personal life, because I was giving 120% to my clients and my team, and I was giving 0% to Ashley, the human being who's not a realtor.
I completely agree with that. I think I've done, like, to this point, a really good job at not working evenings or not working weekends. And by say, like, not working, I mean no appointments. I spend time with my daughter. I have a couple of agents that work for me, an admin in the office, and then 2 VAs. So, like, I have an extended support system, but that phone is the next piece of the puzzle. Like that is where the true freedom comes. So I've rediscovered dinners with my friends, going to concerts, not feeling guilty, going to the gym, doing this here and there, whatever. But that attachment to the phone is still like, even though, so a long time ago, a boundary that I set was I turned my phone on silent, always on silent, not even vibrate, because much like you, Tim, when you got that message, you would initially or immediately respond. I was the exact same way. Like I would hear the vibrate or the ding and I'm like, oh no. And you feel like you had to respond. So I felt me taking control was having it on silent, no vibrate. So when I looked at it, I could decide when I respond. But now what I've noticed is I keep it on silent, but I look at it a heck of a lot more because it's on silent. And when you see those notifications, it's like instant anxiety. So the phone, like Brayden knows sort of like my social stuff and like my hobbies and things that I do. I've done a really good job at like getting that stuff back into my life and having the energy to do that. But getting rid of the phone is like that next piece that removes that feeling. Like you guys know the physical feeling that I'm talking about, right? When you're like,
Oh, yeah. When you hear your phone going off and it's not actually off.
Yeah, or you
vibration.
just like
ghost rings. Yeah.
this picture is wrong, or that open house timer, like this is spelled wrong. It's just like that instant dread if you're in the middle of something. And much like Ashley, like my mood would change instantly. So I think hearing from both of you guys what your experience has been, for me, however many years down the line, like 15, 16 years as a realtor, like it gives me the confidence to be like, it's okay. Get rid of it.
Mhm.
And like
Yeah.
protect your space. You will be better for it.
To help you with that too, for future excitement, Sydney, like my wife literally says there's day off Tim and there's work Tim.
Yeah.
And we are two people. Like when I come back from dropping my phone off,
There's also sexy whistler Tim. Let's not
Netflix
forget about that.
Whistler Tim.
there we go, exactly. That was the beginning of the day off
Are
Tim.
you still watching?
Oh, we've had the subscription since 2017. Come on.
Yeah, I want to round this out with some more tactical, tips and tricks and stuff. But just to share a personal anecdote, as you, all three of you know, Mandy and I have a 11-week-old golden retriever at home, and we're crate training her during the day. And it was interesting because a lot of my friends who have had puppies have said, "Oh, you need to get this like Amazon, Google Home camera, right? So you can see her what she's up to." And then I ran that by the trainer and she's like, don't do that. What is it going to do for you? Like, you're going to see how distraught she is in her crate, and you're going to leave your meeting and drive home in the middle of the day when you don't have the time to do that. Like, it's kind of like out of sight, out of mind. And I will say the few times that I have gone for a couple hours here, maybe 3 hours, it's in the back of my mind, but it's like, I literally know that I can't see how she's doing until I get home. And she's going to be safe. We made all the precautions, but that separation, if I had a freaking camera that I could pull up on my phone and watch in real time, I would literally be watching it. But I would have if it wasn't for the advice of my coach, in this case, the dog trainer, saying, don't do that. It doesn't serve you. And so I think the same degree, Sydney, what you're saying is like, don't have the phone sitting on the arm rest of your sofa while you're watching a show with your daughter. Because when you see the ping and it says, hey, my clients have decided to go with another listing, or, it's like, oh, ruined it, right?
I've started also too with like my sleep notification. So every night at 9:00, it flips on. So I can't see anything, and it flips off at like 6 a.m. But there's still the attachment. It's still there. And it never used to like invoke this physical feeling. It does now.
Uh-huh.
And so I'm really excited to not feel that.
Yeah, I'm excited for you too. So let's talk about tips and tricks. So I'm going to start with some basics, like models of phone. Did you, like, your iPhone users? Did you get an iPhone? How, like, what have you done there? Tim, what about you? Let's do a lightning round here.
Yeah. So I used an old phone and kept the new phone for my work phone because needed the most technology for photos, videos, etc. And then now I have 2 iPhone 15s because I just constantly renew the contract when it comes up and get the same stuff.
Ashley, for you, hardware?
Yeah, same as Tim, 2 iPhones. I use my old iPhone. I don't know what it is, maybe a 12 or a 13. I've got the new iPhone, whatever that is. I don't know. I'm not super
New one is
techy.
for work. The old one's for not.
The new one's for work. The old one is the burner, and I just use the same as UB, the Fizz. It's $25 a month. The data rolls over. Um, that's what I use.
Awesome, Sydney, and yeah, we've established this. You're getting it's like somehow you're getting the iPhone 20. They're only at 16, but you've ordered the iPhone 20 from the future, and
You're
it's coming
making me
in.
sound so bad. No, I'm going to keep the 16 for
not a
myself, and
3?
the 13's going to the office.
Atta girl. Well, I want to let you know that I've kicked all of your asses. My burner phone is an iPhone 10X.
Amazing.
So, not a 3. Not a 3, no.
Like an iPod.
Yeah, and so, an iPod Touch. So, Ash, you mentioned, so let's talk about data plans, because I do get this question a lot. Sometimes it's these funny little technical questions or the hang up that causes people from actually moving ahead with it. So you're on a program called Fizz. I don't know if that's Canada wide. There you go. How does it work? Is it data and calls?
Yeah, data and calls, and it rolls over every month. So I think I have like 1 gig of data, but if I don't use it, then it rolls into the next month, which is enough because I'm not.
Yeah. Tim, what are you rocking?
I have 2 regular plans, but actually my plans are uniform. They're actually unreal. I got a deal with Rogers 2 years ago. It's $50 or $55 a month, North America wide, 100 gigs of data.
Yeah.
So
And Sid, how about you? What are you planning on doing?
I think mine that I'm doing is $65 a month, like unlimited everything, Canada, US. So it operates the exact same way as my current phone plan does. There's no restrictions. And I think,
Nice.
I think it was 100 gigs of data as well.
Yeah, and then for mine, I'm using. I would use Fizz if I didn't have a grandfather plan from TELUS, but I have like a $30. It was literally the plan for my old iPad. Remember when we had data in the iPad? And I took the SIM card out of my iPad and put it in the burner phone, and it worked. So I'm like, oh, sweet, okay. So, and one of the things I've noticed is like people get hung up on the amount of data. The reality is most of the time you're in places where you have Wi-Fi. Like you're in your hotel, you're at home, you're wherever, and so you don't need as much data as you think you do.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm curious to know what apps do you have, and maybe what are the notable omissions. So, Tim, I'm curious on your. Obviously, we know Candy Crush is there. But what else is on the burner phone, and then what is a noticeable omission that's not on the burner?
So I have a lot more self-control than you. I have access to everything my work phone does, but
even your email.
But it's all turned off.
Yeah.
So.
Oh wow.
That's like tantric second phone stuff, man. I don't know how you do that.
Brag, Tim.
There's a couple reasons, right? Like in the early stages when I was going away, or like went on my honeymoon for 3 weeks, right? When my colleague in the office was handling things, if there was something I had to see, I could still get on to look at it, right? I think the only app legitimately that's not on there is Dropbox, where our cloud stuff's saved. Otherwise, I can access it, but I choose not to unless needed. I got a phone call last Friday. I do get calls on my day off, unfortunately, from my guy. He's like, hey, this term, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, I just need to see it with my own eyes, right? So popped into the app, looked at just that. But I'll literally close my eyes to the other emails. Like I'll be like, okay, just that one. And then, close it. But I can't see the other stuff, right?
Tim, can I just suggest you could set up a free, not safe for work email address that team member could forward that to. That's how I handle that. Just for the
I have a Hotmail, good old from like 1995 or something.
Just a consideration, because if you accidentally, as you're squinting, see something else, like it just, you're playing with fire. But I like that.
You should see me though. I got it down.
Yeah, Ashley, what's on the burner phone, and what are the notable omissions from it?
Yeah, no work related. I don't even have my Apple ID on there. Like I can't even download anything. But no email, no Dropbox, no prospects, no broker bay, nothing. Like nothing at all that anyone from work would ever be possible to find.
And you obviously have call and text apps on there, but it's for a different number. So you're not getting calls or texts to that phone anyways.
No, I forward my regular cell phone to the office and have a text auto responder on. I leave my laptop at the office as well, not even in my house, so that like if I get home from my trip, there's a buffer, or I've even taken, believe it or not, staycations. So I've been able to relax at home and not work. And then on my burner phone, like really the only app I have is Airbnb, because we have an Airbnb in our house, so I need to sometimes answer things for that. And then I have a fitness app that I use for my workouts, and I have that on there, and that's
Yeah.
it.
And Sydney, I know it's you haven't done it yet, but based on what we've heard, actually, maybe I'll tell you for mine, and then you can tell us how you think you want to set it up. So for me, no social media, no. I have Gmail, but it's my personal email, not my work email. I have calls and texts, but again, it's a number no one knows, so I don't get any real inbound. I have a sports app, so I can follow along with the news of sports. Airbnb, because usually I'm taking this phone somewhere where we're staying. And then I think my banking app, same idea, just so that,
Yeah, I get
that,
that.
and then the notable emissions would be like, yeah, no social media. The tough one for me is actually YouTube. I don't consume a lot of content on Instagram or Facebook. I post more there than I consume, but I love going down YouTube rabbit holes, but it has the same nonstop scroll. So it's the same addicting thing. So if I'm on vacation, the deal is I'm allowed to watch YouTube, but on TV. So it's a more intentional choice. Like I'm turning on TV, I'm opening up YouTube, I'm watching whatever, versus it just being on my phone. WhatsApp, but also WhatsApp is for my burner phone number, so it's not my regular one. So again, when we're in Mexico, they use WhatsApp a ton to communicate with people, make reservations. So that's there. And then Safari instead of Chrome. So again, I'm trying to make it because I'm not a man of steel like Tim Hill. I need to make it as hard as humanly possible to have any potential cross contamination between my two worlds. Okay, Sid.
I don't have the same self-control as Tim, so
No one does.
no.
Tim's not even real.
You are like a specimen.
It's still a different phone number. So like none
No.
of the stuff is it's not crossbreeding.
I
It's just
couldn't even have my email inbox on there even if it was hidden. So no email, no
Ribby.
DocuSign, no Broker Bay, no anything related to work. I love like a good Facebook scroll or a good Instagram scroll. And I like don't even, Brayden, you can't even judge me. But if I'm traveling somewhere, like I like to creep things on Instagram. So like I'm going to have my social media stuff on there, my banking, like things that I would use when I'm traveling, but absolutely nothing related to work. And then obviously the only people that will have that particular number are my friends. So the social interactions change a little bit. And then yeah, just nothing to do with work. For me, it's literally work that I need to leave at the office. So if I have both phones during the day, like not a big deal because I'm on, but at night, my admin has offered to take that phone home with her, or it simply stays at the office depending on what the schedule looks like. Like I want nothing to do with it.
Yeah. And this, I'm just going to tease this. I'll make a tutorial on this in the future, but I've done this for myself and helped Ashley set up a text autoresponder on iPhone. So if you get a text and you leave your phone at the office, it will literally instantly send a message back saying this phone's not being monitored, blah, 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 even give instructions on who to reach out to.
Yeah.
So
I did chat GPT that the other day. I was like, how do you do it? And then I read the answer. I'm like, oh, I'll just ask Brayden.
Yeah. So you're telling me that if you see one of your past clients make a post about how excited they are to sell their house and move into a bigger house, and it's another realtor, that wouldn't like that to me is my fear.
Did I tell you?
I don't want to see how much
no.
Ashley likes Century 21 and how she thinks it's the best mortgage in the world and all that. Like that would kill me.
I didn't even tell you this story, and I'll be quick. When I was in Mexico in January, I was on the beach. I don't even know if I had a vodka soda yet. And my clients text me. Seriously, they text me and they're like, hey, just so you know, like we're going to go in a different direction. We just wanted to let you know before you saw it. I was like, no problem. Put my phone back in the bag. Never thought about it again. Legit.
Okay.
Never thought about it again. And I think maybe I have Instagram controls set up, like the timing. I usually click like ignore limit for today, but if we're being honest, but no, I think I can shut that stuff off because there's a reason that took place. And especially if I'm outside of my home, but I genuinely enjoy like social media, and especially in a new place when you're looking for trendy spots or like creeping something. I like that. So I'm going to keep it.
Okay. All right. I love it.
I won't cry to you if I see something bad.
Yeah.
You can also have separate social channels, right?
Yeah.
Like I have 2
Oh,
channels.
a burner
right?
Instagram account.
Whoa.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's
then
what
you
we're
could
going
So
to do.
all
Yeah.
my car stuff and whatnot is on my fun social.
all my negative comments on YouTube are from Tim Hill's burner alias on
0134.
yeah,
Nice.
Mr. Whistler 475 at telus.net says this episode sucks ass. Thanks,
How
Tim.
many days until we see each other in person again? Because I'm not sure.
Okay. One parting shot here around getting anyone listening to this is very interested in the idea of getting a second phone. And maybe they do need to get a life. Actually, I was right. They need to get a life. They want to get a life. And so therefore they want to get a second phone. What would you say to them, Ashley? What that's okay. What would you say, Ash, as far as I don't know if it's just do it, or it's some piece of technology you'd recommend or something, but what would your sage advice be on this?
Yeah, I would say just get it. Like, what's the worst that's going to happen? You're going to have more free time. Like, who wouldn't want that? More time to yourself. Like, to me, there's literally no negative to getting it.
Tim, what say you?
I think anyone that's listening should consider this. Who are you living your life for?
Ooh, nicely done, Tim. You held out for 111 minutes before you said something intelligent, but
71, buddy. Where's your mouth?
There it is. Okay, Sydney. I want you to know this is actually not a podcast. This is a intervention. So we staged this for you. What are you hearing as the baby second phone user?
I think, like Ashley said earlier, like just get over your ego. Tim just said, who are you living your life for? Like, it's really not that difficult. I think we overcomplicate things, and I think, just need to do it.
Well, believe it or not, I love you all, including you, Tim. Thank you so much for being here, and appreciate it. This is going to make a huge difference in the lives of a lot of agents, because I get asked about this topic shockingly almost more than anything else in the last year or so. People are always like, tell me more about your burner phone. So now I'm going to just point to this episode. So thank you for that. Thanks for tuning in to Breakthrough with Coach B. If you're ready to let go in order to grow, visit bradenweecroft.com for free and paid resources to help you take the next step. Your future self will thank you. Until next time, here's to your breakthrough.